Welcome in to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and Where the 99 Leads, it's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville where we talk all things regarding the University of Pikeville. We talk athletics, we talk the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, and, of course, all things academically at the university. Special guest today, a returning guest to Where the 99 Lead. She's been here before. It's Amanda Runyon, instructor of developmental English and academic team coach. Amanda, welcome back in.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Always our pleasure because we talk about some things that are very exciting. And of course, academic team coach, we'll touch on that. But in your role as instructor of developmental English, books are a big part of your world. And we want to talk about that on this edition. Amanda, before we go there, for those that are tuned in that haven't seen previous programs, let's talk about Amanda Runyon and where you come from, maybe your background and how you arrived at the University of Pikeville.
Okay, I'm actually from a little place called Draffin, which is near Elkhorn City. I graduated from what was then Pikeville College and stayed on. I just haven't left. I did graduate work at Morehead State University, but was working at Pikeville College the whole time. I worked a little bit in administration and have been teaching full-time for the past 3 years and coaching the academic team now for 5 years.
Wow.
I think, yeah.
Wow. And of course, so many people, faculty, administration, staff, they come to the university or in those days, then Pikeville College, as a student, and they never leave. They get their education and then they stay on, and it's a cycle with so many people. And good to have you there. Academic team. How did you get involved in academic teams?
Well, the academic team has always been near and dear to me. I was on the academic team through elementary school and high school myself. So I actually just knew we had a team before, but our team had been kind of dormant for a few years,
Sure.
just kind of without a sponsor.
Right.
So I just took that on, and I've been doing it ever since. Our program keeps growing. They're doing great, and we're having a great time. So it's something that I definitely want to continue.
Indeed. Amanda, for the past few years, you and your students have been part of a global initiative known as World Book Night. It interests me. We've talked about the books that have been a part of that. You'll celebrate again this year. What is World Book Night, and how will the University of Pikeville celebrate the event?
Well, World Book Night is my favorite night of the year. I know I come on every year and get really excited about it.
Sure.
The World Book Night organization chooses people from around the world to be book givers. To be a book giver, you have to go through an application process, and,
Right.
and when you are chosen, you are then given a list of 30 best-selling books. Could be novels, could be poetry. And as a book giver, you choose the one that's special to you or that you like the most.
Sure.
So then the organization sends the givers 20 free copies of those books.
Right.
And there are 25,000 of us around the world who will be going out on World Book Night to give those books to our communities, just to go out and find people that we want to give books to share the love of reading. So it's a really special night. This is my 3rd year as a giver. But on top of the book giving, we at UPike, we like to host a little celebration. We
Right.
call it the World Book Night Celebration of Reading. We host in the city park. This year, it actually falls on this coming Monday, April 21st.
Okay.
And every year we just try to do something different to celebrate the love of reading. This year we are hosting a community book swap. I have a starting base of about 100 books or so. They range from children's books to adult books and everything in between.
Sure.
Those are going to be set up out in the park. And after I go out and give away the copies of my World Book Night novel, then we'll have this swap where anyone from the community can bring books in that maybe they are finished with or just
Sure.
want to pass along. And they can swap if they want to. Bring a book and take a book. We'll also be having refreshments. We'll have several stations set up with some crafts. We like to make our own bookmarks and make posters that celebrate our favorite books. And then the big event in the evening is that anybody from the community, from the campus, anywhere, is invited to come up into the gazebo with us and share an excerpt from their favorite novel or poem, or anything that maybe you just want to talk about reading and what it's done for you, and that's fine. We have about an hour of just really great sharing.
Sure.
We give away door prizes. We just have a lot of fun. There's something for everybody.
And that's coming up this coming Monday.
That's right.
In the Pikeville City Park. And what time does it get underway?
I'm going to be giving books away in the park between 5 and 6, and then the actual event will start at 6:00 p.m.
Very good. And you talk about you have a choice of books that
That's right.
are given away on World Book Night. And what book have you selected to give away this year? And why did you choose it?
Well, this year I chose Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It's a mouthful. It's a book by Ransom Riggs. It's a very unique and just interesting book. It's kind of on the spooky sci-fi level. Ransom Riggs, when he wrote this book, he had a collection of antique and vintage photos.
Yes.
And so he built this story around those photos. It's a story of a young boy who goes in search of some family secrets, and then these secrets lead him to the home of this woman. She runs an orphanage for peculiar children. You know, they all have something that makes them a little different. And so they go through adventures trying to uncover these secrets. It's engaging, it's interesting. Those photographs are actually in the book, so it's a mixed media type book.
Right.
I think it appeals to people of all ages, young adults and adult readers. It's one of those stories that just sucks you in and you get really interested in. So that's why I chose this one. I like to choose something different each time. I've given away books on all different kinds of levels, and I think this one is a great choice for this year.
And the title, again, it's a long one.
It is. It's Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs.
Very good. You're tuned to Where the 99 Lead. Today we talk with Amanda Runyon, instructor of developmental English and academic team coach at the University of Pikeville. Upcoming World Book Night, and of course in Pikeville City Park this coming Monday, and you'll want to get there early and take part in the event. It's an exciting event, and celebrating books and celebrating reading and opening new worlds through the love of reading. Amanda, UPike Impact Club will help with this year's event. What are some of the activities that they have planned?
Well, we have a lot of student groups who like to get involved. Of course, our Sigma Tau Delta English Honor Society helps out every year. But this year, Impact is new. This is a brand new club on campus, sponsored by Teresa Daugherre. And it's a group all about service.
Right.
It's based on service. And already in just a short time, they've done some really wonderful things. So they have asked to help out with World Book Night. They're going to be doing storytelling with children. Every year we have little kids who will come in, or younger kids. So they're going to kind of separate out on picnic blankets and do some story time with the kids. And then they're going to help with the book swap.
Sure. And making a difference, the Impact Club. I know they've been involved in many different service type projects. We're talking about World Book Night, and it's part of a larger goal that you have to create a literary community. The mission is spreading the love of reading person to person. What was the book that you absolutely loved or that changed your life in some way?
This is probably the hardest question anybody has ever asked me, because I could spend hours talking about books that have changed my life. I feel like every book that I read, I'm a little different after each one, but there are some very specific ones that have stuck with me that I carry around, not physically but emotionally, and that have influenced me in not only my personal life but my writing life and professional life as well. I think I always go back to Lee Smith, who is an Appalachian author, and her book Fair and Tender Ladies is one of my absolute favorite novels, but it inspired me on a level that taught me, here was a woman who was writing about Appalachian characters, and it was real. It wasn't something that was contrived or stereotyped. And I think I realized, hey, that's important to me. And so I think that book and The Doll Maker by Harriet Arnold are probably two of the most influential ones in my life. If you ask me tomorrow, I may have a different answer because there are so many, but those are two I always fall back on.
Many different types of writings that you'll read?
Yes, I read just about everything. I love fiction and I love poetry. I read a lot of contemporary fiction. Recently, I read an Irish novelist named Colin McCann. He wrote Let the Great World Spin. and that is one that I think I will carry around quite a bit. It's just a very emotional novel that kind of grounds you in your place in the world. You know, that's what I love about reading, is that it opens up a lot of worlds, but also helps you connect to your place in it.
Right. Instructor of Developmental English. I would imagine that there are some reading assignments in those courses that you're involved with as an instructor. How do you encourage your students, number one, and people in general, number two, to read more?
Well, I think I've kind of made it my lifelong goal to inspire people to read. I've kind of become the book lady, you know, and it's great because it's a topic of conversation, you know, between all my students and
Sure.
and me. We try to find a common ground, something that we all like. It's been my experience that a lot of times you'll ask students if they like to read, and they say no. But when you start talking about it, then they say, oh, but I do like to read about sports, or I do like to read about mysteries, or I do, you know, and they kind of associate their pleasure in reading in only what they've been assigned to read, only
Right.
what they've been made to read. And so I try to break down those barriers and show them that reading is not just about reading what somebody else wants you to read. It's that too, that's important.
Sure.
But also finding what interests you and what loves, you know, what you love about it. And this World Book Night event has done wonders to inspire students. I have one in particular who comes back now. This is our third year, and he's repeat. He keeps coming back, and he reads during the event.
Yes.
And at first he said he didn't like to read, and I've just been in awe of him, you know, always coming back. And now he'll meet me out on the sidewalk or, you know, in Java and say, hey, Miss Runyon, you know, I found this book that I really like. And
Right.
so the event helps, not just on campus, but in a lot of different places. We get a lot of support, and I'm really grateful for the support that we get for this event. We have people from local businesses, Quality Foods, and Community Trust Bank who want to get involved and get, you know, give donations and help spread this love of reading. And so that's huge. I really love that, and I thank them for that, because it's a global initiative. It's not just here in the classroom
Right.
or just person to person. So I guess I just go out and talk about it as much as I can and host these events. And I think getting students to read earlier and earlier is a really important factor in getting people to like to
Right.
read.
What could parents or teachers or those that are around children do to encourage children to begin reading at an earlier age? And what would be some of your recommendations to get children interested, inspired to read more early?
Well, with parents, you know, it's never too early to read to your kids, never. And that's something that becomes a tradition. I have 12-year-old twins. They'll be 13 this July, and I have a 2-year-old. And from the time the twins were really young, you know, we started reading together. And so even now that they're 12, it's still something we do. Of course, our books have, you know, our library has expanded,
Sure.
but I let them choose a book. We take turns.
Right.
My daughter chooses a book that we read aloud together. We'll read chapter a night, you know, chapter every couple of weeks, you know, however often we can.
Sure.
And then it's my son's turn, and then I get to choose one. So rather than force upon them what I want to read or what I want them to read, I give them that option, and then I just surround them with books. My house is full of books in every room, and,
Right.
and you know, I think that's important. I think to make it available, and you know, all parents don't have books in their homes, and that's where I encourage, you know, go into the library, take your child to a library class. Just let them know that there are so many other worlds that they can experience,
Right.
and encourage that, and let them see you reading. I think that's a big deal too, is teachers and parents alike. If your kids catch you reading, then they're going to try to emulate that.
So many times we see children that behave just like their parents, and
Oh, yeah.
they get those habits, and they develop those. And what a great habit to pass along to a child is one that is reading. We're talking with Amanda Runyon, instructor of developmental English and academic coach at the University of Pikeville, on this edition of Where the 99 Lead. Where the 99 leads, it leads to the University of Pikeville campus, but also into the world from campus. And World Book Night coming up Monday, April 21st, Bob Amos Park, Pikeville City Park, and a community event, community welcome to attend, and you may just find a new book
That's
to
right.
read there.
I really want to encourage people to bring books out for the book swap, or just come and browse. Even if you don't have a book to trade, come and browse. At the end of the night, whatever books are left, they're all going to be donated to the Better World Books organization, which will benefit the Books for Africa charity. So for every book that we donate, a textbook will be sent to a school in Africa. So it's a great benefit on top of just the celebration. So come out and share in that.
Truly from campus into the world, one book at a time, and something that you've said, spreading the love of reading person to person. Amanda Runyon, in addition to your love of reading and books, you also have a passion for writing, I understand. As an author, you were recently awarded an Artist Enrichment Grant from the Kentucky Foundation for Women. Tell us about that.
That's right. I am a writer. I write fiction and poetry, and I have been working on a collection of short stories. This collection is tied together with the theme of issues in the lives of Appalachian females. They're fiction stories, but I'm doing a lot of research and a lot of just incorporating daily life events in Appalachia females into these short stories. And so an excerpt from my collection was chosen by the Kentucky Foundation for Women to be supported. And I was awarded the Artist Enrichment Grant, which will fund my workshop this summer. I'll do the Appalachian Writers Workshop in Hindman. And it also funded a trip up to the Appalachian Studies Association conference in Huntington. And then just support me a little, through finishing this project. I'm hoping my projected finish date is the end of this year. So
Yes.
I'm hoping to have something out for publication by then.
Very good. Plans for future writings?
Oh yes, I've been writing for years, but this will be my first book-length collection.
Very
So,
good. Very good. You presented your work at a couple of conferences where you joined a panel of Appalachian authors. Why do you think it's important to share your work in that type of setting?
Because I think literature is important anywhere, in any type of setting. I think that it's always a wonderful event when authors get together and share what they're doing. This particular event was at the Appalachian Studies Association conference in Huntington, West Virginia. And that conference is a mixture of academic and creative work. And so that is, to me, of just the utmost importance for anybody who's interested in life in Appalachia to get out there and see what kind of research is going on, to share their ideas. The Appalachian area is my passion. It is part of my heart and soul, and very important to my writing and my personal life.
Sure.
And so to go out and share what I'm doing with the inspiration that I receive from this area, and to get ideas from other authors, and also to find out about the scholarly things that are going on, in the area as well. I think that's the advancement of our future. That's
Certain kinship between Appalachian authors?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a family.
I would imagine the authors have a lot of stories that can be told, and many of their writings that reflect times in Appalachia that I think we all can relate to, because it's a special place, and
It is.
it has its own feel to it.
That's right.
Tell us about your recently published work and the upcoming events where you're going to share those.
I've recently had some poetry published in some literary journals, just in Kentucky and out of the state. This Thursday night, I'm doing a reading in Moorhead at the bookstore there on Main Street from a collection that I had a poem published in called The Pine Mountain Sand and Gravel. That's a literary journal that's filled with fiction and poetry throughout the region. And so I had a poem published there. And then I also have a recent publication in the Kudzu Literary Journal, and we're going to be doing an evening with poets reading in Hazard on next Thursday night. So that's two in a row, 2 readings in a row. I just found out after we set this show up too that I have another publication that'll be coming out in June in the Motif Anthology series, and that's also more poetry. And all of these anthologies or these journals are available to order online, and they're just full of contemporary Appalachian literature. So they're a great place to go and find something new to read.
Indeed. You're tuned to Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, and our guest, Amanda Runyon, instructor of developmental English and academic team coach at the University of Pikeville. Of course, we're highlighting World Book Night coming up Monday night, Pikeville City Park, and we want to encourage the community to be there. We also talk about athletic teams. We want to talk about the academic team before we go. You've been involved with the academic team at Pikeville for some time now. Let's talk about how the academic teams have fared in this year's tournaments.
Well, we did pretty well this year. We participated in 6 tournaments overall and brought home trophies, either a first, second, or third in 3 of those tournaments.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. We wound up placing 3rd place in the entire Kentucky Collegiate Quick Recall League for the season,
Right.
which is pretty good. That's our Division I team. We have several students who will be graduating in May, and kind of so our teams are going to be shifting again, which is something that happens, but I think we're really on a good roll with this team. A lot of my students actually went out and helped out in the community. That's something that they do too. So we volunteered. I had a couple go up to Elkhorn City to volunteer with the Governor's Cup competition with the middle schoolers and
Right.
the elementary kids. So they've been pretty busy, and they've had a really good time in the process. So we've had a good year.
How many UPike students involved in the academic teams?
I have about 17 right now. We can only play 4 to a team at a time.
Sure.
But then we try to, sometimes we double up and play maybe 2 teams in one division. So we keep several students, and that's great. I mean, that's a huge academic team, and I would love to, to be able to play them all at one time.
Right.
But we kind of cycle in and out. So I'll be losing 2 in May, but then 3 more in December for graduation. So we're going to be rebuilding that Division I team.
Many of the students involved in the UPike academic team are these students that have been involved in academic teams in their high schools?
Some of them have, but some of them have never played before they came here, and that's fine too.
Sure.
We have a good time. It's a great academic competition. We have people who like me played from 5th grade on, and then we have brand new people to the group, and I think they all seem to enjoy it
Sure.
just as much.
Right. How do they fare?
They pick it up. It's pretty. It's not something. Quiz Bowl and Quick Recall is not something that you can really just have a knack for, because there are random questions that are being asked in every tournament. So you just kind of bring your own knowledge to the table, and the practice part is just about getting quicker and recognizing types of questions. So they all do pretty well, even if they're brand new.
Very good. Here you had an additional role with the league this year. Tell us about that.
That's right. I served as the president of the Kentucky Collegiate Quick Recall League for this past season. That was a fun experience. It was the first time I'd served in an officer role. We've been a part of the KCQRL from way before I was the coach here. So it's a pretty tight-knit group, a lot of different schools around Kentucky and also in Ohio. And so, it was really nice to get to lead in that position and to kind of get my feel for that
Right.
sort of role.
Right.
So.
Tell us about the schools involved.
Well, we compete with the University of Louisville, Jefferson Community College, Big Sandy Community College. We have a Division I and Division II. Division II is their freshmen and sophomores, so we have a nice presence from the community colleges
Sure.
there. We play against the University of the Cumberlands and Murray State University, Ohio University South. We play against the University of Miami. They came out and played a couple games last year, which was
Right.
really interesting. And sometimes it fluctuates. Sometimes maybe a school won't have enough students to compete, so they'll be out for a year and then they come back.
Sure.
But it's a pretty big league.
Yes.
It's-
And large schools, small schools,
Oh, yeah.
all come together, and the UPike academic team faring well in the league this year. If someone's interested in being involved, we talked about World Book Night and how the community could be involved. You have some corporate entities that help out with sponsorships and donations. But if someone in the community would be interested in participating and passing on that passion for reading one person to person, and how could they help out with the event coming up?
Oh, we would love to have anybody who's interested come out and help. And first of all, we just want you to come out and enjoy. You know, come out and read with us and bring an excerpt of your favorite novel or a poem or just your own personal story about what reading has done in your life, and come out and share that under the gazebo. And, you know, have some refreshments and partake in the activities. But also bring books out to come out and trade. You know, come on over and share that in the actual trading of books, actually putting a book in somebody else's hand.
Sure.
And, you know, that would be wonderful. Anybody who would come out and participate.
If there is someone tuned in right now and they have boxes of books that haven't been touched in years, or perhaps they have bookshelves they need to make space for, because every time they're within 50 miles of a bookstore, they go there and they purchase large numbers of books.
I know people who would do that.
Does that sound familiar?
That's very familiar, yes.
But many times, once a book is read, it's placed on a shelf and maybe it never gets into another hand.
That's right.
Would this be a situation to where they could bring those books to the World Book Night and they would be gotten into the hands of someone?
Absolutely. If you have any books that you're ready to pass on, bring them over to the park. I'll have people who can help unload them for you, and we'll bring them up and we'll put them out in the swap so that other people can come out and get them. And then again, if nobody takes them home, they'll be donated to Better World Books, which will provide a textbook to a student in Africa. So absolutely, any books that you may have that you're ready to pass them on, because that is the life of a book. You know, if you don't share it, then those ideas can't really spread. So
Exactly. We don't want to leave those ideas in a cardboard
That's
box
right.
in the corner of someone's garage.
exactly.
Amanda Runyon, if someone would like more information, or perhaps they would like to speak with you about your writing, your work as an author, and maybe some readings that you have coming up, how can they contact you?
You can always contact me by my UPike email, which is just amandarunyon@upike.edu, or call up on campus and ask to speak to Amanda Runyon. I'm also on Facebook, just Amanda Jo Runyon. I welcome any kind of conversation about books from any medium, so I'm pretty easy to get in touch with.
Amanda Runyon, our guest on this edition of Where the 99 Lead. World Book Night coming to the Pikeville City Park Monday, April 21st, and that gets started
About 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Amanda Runyon, instructor of developmental English and academic team coach at the University of Pikeville, our guest. Amanda, we'll look forward to having you back on the show real soon.
Thank you. I'd love to be back.
Always our pleasure as we celebrate books and spreading the love of reading person to person. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead. It's brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. I'm Andrew Joyce. Thanks for tuning in.